My name is Russell Whitehead. I stand before you today a changed man. Veterans Treatment Court has played a very large part in my life over the past 2 years. I'll give you a brief history on how I came to be here today. I originally came from a very small town in northern Oklahoma, a town of about 800 people. And in 2006, I enlisted in the United States Army as a healthcare specialist, which I later learned is just a nicer word for a combat medic. I spent the next year in training, basic AIT, airborne school, and an unsuccessful attempt at getting into Ranger Regiment. I then found myself stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina at the 82nd Airborne Division. After only 2 weeks at Fort Bragg, I was deployed to Iraq to join my unit, which was the 2nd of the 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment. While in Kuwait, waiting to go over the border, the 573 Cav, which is the old 3505, was hit by 2 V-beds, killing 9 soldiers, which included 2 medics. I was transferred to that unit that day, and the next day I was flown over the border into Iraq. It's not the easiest thing to join a unit mid-deployment. It's even tougher whenever you're replacing 2 beloved medics of that unit. But after the first casualties I treated, I earned the ability to be called Doc. And from then on out, they were my soldiers, and I was their doc. As far as casualties, it's war, there were casualties. Some people I could save. Other people, though, I could not. I lost acquaintances as well as friends. I'll never forget. Upon returning stateside, I began drinking quite heavily. It was a lot different than drinking before, I guess. It seemed like I couldn't drink enough. I couldn't do anything enough to bring back the men that I had lost overseas. I would have given anything to have traded places with any of them, but I couldn't, and I had to live with that. Shortly after getting back, I was given the opportunity to go to paramedic school to further my education as a medic. Myself and 14 others from the brigade. And 8 months later, myself and 7 others graduated from that program with our national registry. At the end of it, our next deployment was just around the corner. So I felt like I needed an escape for myself for a night, and I made some very bad decisions. And the next day, I had a mandatory urinalysis, which I failed. 3 weeks later, I was court-martialed, jailed, and summarily discharged from the military. I had lost the one thing in my life that I had ever really loved doing, and worse than that, I had failed my soldiers. I got out, I was discharged from the military in November of 2008. I received my first DUI in January of 2009. 3 months later, I received an APC. At this point, I knew I needed to change something or I was in trouble. I was going to be losing my paramedic license. I was sober for another 6 months when my unit came back from Iraq from the deployment that I had missed. I traveled back to North Carolina to see all my friends, and somewhere in the midst of the joy of seeing everybody, I found an unequivocal pain. I would never feel that kind of joy again. That, coupled with the memories of all the men that I had lost overseas, I began drinking again. It was a pretty quick downward spiral from there. I received my second DUI in January of 2012. 3 months after that, I moved from my hometown to Tulsa to start a new job. 3 days after starting my new job, I received my third DUI. This time I was facing jail time. My lawyer had recommended DUI court, which seemed like a good idea. It seemed like a long time, but if it kept me out of jail, then it would be worth it. Processed all of the paperwork, went to plead into DUI court, and there was a piece of paper that said Veterans Treatment Court for all veterans and of nonviolent crimes, things of that nature that need help. I figured to myself that since I'm a veteran and I'm in court and I need treatment, I should give that one a shot. And I pled into the Veterans Treatment Court the next week. Little did I know that on September the 5th of 2012, my life would change forever. I was immediately given orders by Judge Nightingale to have a scram attached to my leg. Then after that came the random UAs, came court every week, counseling sessions every week, twice a week, AA meetings. It all became a little overwhelming, but after a while it became a nice routine every day. It was a big turning point when I finally made a decision that I was just going to do whatever they wanted me to do, when they wanted me to do it, how they wanted me to do it. There was no real use fighting it ever. I don't think they were going to let me slide. So I'm not saying I coasted through the entire program, all 20 months of it, just so I could get out and do whatever I wanted, although it crossed my mind at the beginning. But there was a real defining moment about 5 or 6 months in where everything just clicked between the counseling and the court and the being sober longer than I had previously been on my own, where I just started to believe everything that everybody's been telling me over the past 6 years. I didn't dread going to counseling anymore. I looked forward to going to court. I wanted to talk to people about what was wrong with me and how other people with similar situations have dealt with their problems. The court staff, Tulsa Veterans Treatment Court staff, was very good to me throughout the duration of my enrollment, if you will. Two events in particular really stood out. During the Moore tornadoes, I was allowed to take my aid bag, so I still had my paramedic license at the time. I was allowed to travel to Oklahoma City to be one of the first responders to help find and treat victims of tornadoes. That was a really big turning point for me as well, just to get back out and to help people again, not expecting anything in return, not to get paid for it, just to get a thank you was a really big deal to me. The second was on November 2nd of last year, liver cancer took my father from me, and they allowed me to travel home for his last few days to help take care of him, and another few days to help mourn his passing with my family. I was given dignity and respect in those days, which are two things I do not take lightly, and I will always be grateful for. And this brings me to where I am today. I'm a changed man. Due to Veterans Treatment Court, I was able to keep my job. I work as a mechanical designer for a contract engineering firm in Tulsa. I have a beautiful niece and nephew, which my sister-in-law and brother allow me to see anytime I want now. I don't have to worry about any legal repercussions from anything anymore because I know I'm going to make the right decisions. I will be participating in the mentor program in Tulsa to give back to the people that have given so much to me. I can give much of the credit to who I am to these people. And don't get me wrong, who you are is solely based on the path and the choices you make in your life. But my path and my choices that I've made would have been hard fought if they would have been made at all without these people, without all of you, really. And for this, I thank all of you for everything you do for people that need change in their lives. This is my mom.
I stand before you a very proud mother, and I do not know how to thank the drug court that changed my son. He was lost to me and my husband, to his 2 brothers, and to that wonderful niece and nephew that he has. It was not just the drinking that was Russell's problem. It was something much deeper that an AA program could not heal. It was something much, much deeper. And this program reaches down into that problem and grabs it and helps with that problem. I don't think there's another program that reaches into a soldier's problem, because someone that has not been there and seen their fellow comrade blown up or fallen at their feet can feel. Jim and I could not feel it. We could empathize with it. We could haul him out of jail, but we could not be where he had been. And until he got into this program, we could not help him. So to all of you that are in this program and supporting it, my husband, who is no longer with us, and I, thank you so much.